February was another month where I put a little time into smaller experiences and a lot of time into bigger ones, which saw me finishing some great experiences that I want to return to, along with some great new ones that are currently in the process of stealing my heart. It was also one of those months where I'm entering the next one continuing an enjoyable experience, and while it might affect what I play going into this month, it's always good to be playing a great experience that has really sucked me in and has me happily putting many hours into it. So without further ado, and with some great games to talk about, let's get right into the JRPGs I played in February. Just after finishing Atelier Ryza 2, I was happy I finished it with enough time to get a start on my review for it, and to also get into Persona 5 Strikers just in time to play it early thanks to the digital deluxe edition. I've been enjoying it ever since, and it's been so fun to explore Japan with the Phantom Thieves again in what has so far been a great sequel to the original, with its new gameplay in the form of its action twist on Persona's battle system being a great new element that adds something new to all the banter and narrative that already makes Persona so good, and getting the hang of learning enemy attack timings and the best time to use skills has been a nice way to spice up the Persona formula, and I'm enjoying using this satisfying system so much that I wouldn't mind seeing it in future Strikers games or in the series again in some kind of way. I've also been impressed with how it's brought in so many new areas of Japan to play in, including places I've been to like the familiar version of Shibuya from the Lost game, and also Sendai, which I once visited on vacation, and it's been wonderful, especially in these times, to feel like I'm looking into a window of my vacation again, but combined with the Persona world and characters I love. And it's also been cool to see even more of these cities as they're reimagined as jails, with all the new fun ways to explore thanks to the variety of little surprises scattered around the big fields that make exploring so interesting. And as I keep playing in March, I'm excited to see more and more of the surprises it has in both story and the world, as I'm pretty sure I'm in one of its lost cities, so it'll be interesting to see how this good game ends and where its lost locations will be. I'll naturally have more thoughts about it to give in my review that will hopefully come soon after this, as I'm pretty sure I'm close to finishing it, so I'll save talking more about it until then. But I'm glad to be able to say here that I'm enjoying it, and I hope you guys that are playing it are liking it as much as I am, and I look forward to hearing about your experiences in the comments, as I really think Atlas and Omega Force did a great job with this unique Persona experience. My review of Atelier Ryza 2 is finally out as I finished the game in early February, so I've already given a lot of my more in-depth Ryza 2 thoughts there if you want to hear my overall feelings about what was a wonderful experience. However, since originally drafting my review, I've also jumped back into the game many times and can say it's definitely my favorite of the two Ryza games, especially in terms of post-games, as I felt like I was able to get much more out of it thanks to its many events and how easy it makes getting materials to continue improving your items. Initially, I had tried after finishing Ryza 2 to get back into the original Atelier Ryza, as I figured it'd be a good way to catch up on any story events I missed, so I could eventually go back to the leftover events I had in 2 with as much knowledge about Ryza and friends as possible. To my surprise, I played for a good couple of hours before I actually ended up dropping it, as I couldn't get a lot of the events to appear in its first hours. Even when I tried to use my Japanese guide, it lists what seems to be the time and points in the story they appear, and while I could just replay the game again on an easier mode to see what comes up at a quicker pace, I wasn't exactly planning to replay the whole thing, so I decided to do what seems more fun and go back to playing 2, as keeping up with events in that game is much easier and is generally more fulfilling. My time in the first Ryza wasn't completely wasted though. I got to see some cool ways the first and second game connect to each other, such as how similar their opening moments are to how Ashram Bayard is mentioned in its first hours, and it also made me appreciate 2 more, as not having the defend mechanic in 1 was something I definitely missed that made battles feel slower. So partnered with how much easier events are to unlock in 2 and how much more you can do when exploring, in my opinion 2 is really more enjoyable, and that's why I spent most of my pre-Strikers time with it. In that time, I completed my exploration guide and got a head start in seeing the rest of its events that had me loving its wonderful cast even more, and since I still have plenty to see, I'm sure I'll be back to this game sooner rather than later to get as much as I can out of this fun alchemy experience. I really think this game is a great achievement from Gust, so if you want to hear me talk more about it, feel free to check out my review if you haven't already, and I look forward to trying some of its DLC in future or whatever is next for the Atelier series, as Ryza 2 has really cemented the fact that this series is truly one of my favorites, and I can't wait to see what will happen next in this world. While in January I was able to play a variety of smaller experiences because of the free time I had before Ryza 2, since I was busy with 2 console games in February, I felt less inclined to get into many small things and therefore don't have as much to talk about here this month. I did make sure to finish the story of the Persona 5 Strikers event for Dragalia Lost though, which was actually pretty fun once I got to improving my party, and I still have a lot of character stories I can watch as I didn't realize how many would be unlockable, so it's nice to still have a few things left to do in a game that I'm happy I could go back to for a bit, and while I haven't played much since, it was a nice reintroduction to the themes of Persona 5 Strikers before playing the full game. I did also try to get into Genshin Impact Lantern event that looked gorgeous in its trailers, however I lost excitement for it once I realized just how many adventure levels I had to go up to play it, and since usually when I'm playing something for review, I'm spending my other time preparing stuff for videos, it didn't really leave much room for grinding 20 adventurer levels, but I'm sure the game will suck me back in at some point as I love the look of its characters, including one of the new ones called Hideout that I want to learn more about. The only other thing I popped into was the Japanese version of NieR Re Carnation that just came out, so I had to at least make an account for it and soak up a bit of that Yoko Taro atmosphere that I definitely felt in my first few minutes with it. Speaking of Yoko Taro, one thing that isn't a JRPG that I made time for because it was so good is the current Yoko Taro game creator manga that is being released weekly on Japanese manga app Saikami that has been so good so far that it's made me giggle on the train. It's only in Japanese at the moment, but I really hope it gets localized at some point, as not only did I learn a lot about Yoko and how he decided to join the game industry, but a lot of the content is very relatable, like seeing him not fit in certain social situations due to his eccentric personality has been really interesting to read about, and I can't wait for the next one. That was probably the highlight of the JRPG related things I saw on my phone last month that will be the main thing I bring into this one, and with less bigger experiences coming out this month, it'll be interesting to see if I get back into smaller things during the month or get into something bigger, but we'll see how that goes. For now though, I feel satisfied with all the things I played and consumed between games that helped add to what was already a fun month, and I'm looking forward to seeing what games and demos will pique my interest as this month gets underway. As I'm making this video, I'm coming up to what feels like the end of Persona 5 Strikers and really enjoying the fast-paced experience so much that it'll be sad to see it end. I mean, taking my time and doing all the character quests in between them means I probably could have finished it sooner and have been more ready for Neptunia Virtual Star's release date, which has come and passed at this point. But since I'm enjoying Strikers so much, I'll likely leave Neptunia for now, even though it looks so fun with all its VTuber antics, and perhaps save it for when the Kizuna Ai DLC comes out, as it will be nice to play it with at least one VTuber I'm familiar with. Aside from finishing Strikers, the rest of the month is a pretty clean slate for me at the moment. There are some releases I'm very much excited for coming out in Japan, such as Surge Concerto DX and Maglam Lord that I'd love to do a first impressions on, along with the demo for Project Triangle Strategy that recently came out. But I also want to actually review Strikers and finish other video ideas sooner rather than later, so I might play catch up for a little bit and see what comes up, and if I find anything interesting, hopefully I'll get a chance to talk about it here. I hope you guys enjoy what you're playing this month, whether you're continuing something fun or starting something new, and I look forward to hearing about the games you're playing in the comments as another fun JRPG month gets underway. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below what you played in February and what you plan to play this month. You can like and share this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel for more JRPG content like this, and ring that bell to get notifications on whenever I post so you don't miss a thing. You can check out more videos here, and you can find me on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at JRPG Jungle. Links to those will be in the description below, and until next time, thank you, bye!